at the Performance Racing Industry Show here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And in this video, I'm going to show you all of the latest new important tech within sprint car racing. The name is kind of self-explanatory, but if you don't know what the PRI Show is, it's an annual expo held here in Indianapolis, and basically all of the American motorsports at least have a presence here. Off-road, drag, stock car, some IndyCar stuff, obviously a lot of dirt racing stuff because we're here in Indiana, but it's a huge show and it's my first time here. The cool thing about the PRI Show is that this is where a lot of the manufacturers decide to launch a lot of their products each year in December. Now, as I've explained in the past, sprint cars aren't the most technologically advanced race cars really at all, but every year there seems to be a few tweaks or a few advancements, things that are introduced that I find really interesting to see, and I know a lot of the industry doesn't get to see it if you're not here, and certainly a lot of the fans don't get to see this sort of stuff. So first off is a new body panel kit designed by 5-Star Bodies based out of North Carolina. I actually knew about this a few months ago because they did some of the scanning and testing on Rico's car in his shop, but I finally got to see it in person finished here at the PRI Show. Check it out.
Hello, my name is Corey Schultz. I'm from 5-Star Race Car Bodies, and we're here at the PRI Show 2025 with a brand new offering for sprint car racing market. It's been a lot of years of people asking for us to produce a body. We've been busy on other projects, and we finally had time to really commit to it this year. It took us all year, and we barely made it in time for the show, but we feel really good about what we have here. I think we've got the total engineered package solution for race teams. We did aero testing, CFD plus on-track testing with data acquisition for underhood airflow. We developed 3 different blends of composites that for different weight and price points. We've got a beautiful pre-preg carbon fiber. We've got what we call our cup carbon composite blend, which is we supply the composite bodies in NASCAR, and we're using that technology in this market and for sprint cars because the parts are so durable in NASCAR. They love them. They can hit each other, beat and bang, and the parts hold together. They love it. And then we also have for our budget racers a fiberglass package as well. But a couple unique things here is we didn't copy or take any other body's designs. We did our own unique design. We've got an in-house industrial designer that did some really cool sketches. We started there, and with the aero data that we collected and with all the chassis we feel like we've got a package that works for all chassis, that's got peak aerodynamic airflow. Right side side force should be excellent. The weight is consistent and light, and we're going to have everything in stock. So if a customer wants to call an order, we have it. They can ship it out that same day. One unique thing is you'll never see is a molded plastic nose and nose cap. Everything else on the industry is either aluminum or composite, but we feel that the composite is in a tough area right there. It's a high impact area where it could break easily. So we make majority of the noses in dirt late models and the fenders. So we took that plastic material technology and incorporated here on the sprint car. So it's a very popular plastic. It holds up, it will last very long. It's light, and I think the price is extremely reasonable. It's under $100 for the nose, and I think it's like $40 or $50 for the nose cap, so I feel like the price point's really good. Long-lasting, durable part.
What about the hood? I love the indent there on the center of the hood.
You like it? I mean, we had to have our own unique styling here, but what's really cool is that we've engineered it for perfect airflow up and around the radiator and into the engine. We did a test with the folks at Schnee Lawson. We prepped the track in Odessa, Missouri this summer, and we had a data acquisition pack in the car, GoPro cameras with tufts of string to see how the air is flowing under the hood. And we gathered a lot of data off of that, and we feel like the underhood aero is as optimized as you can get. We found some significant savings and improved airflow into the engine, so it hopefully will improve horsepower for race teams. won't starve the engine of air. We tried different hole locations in the hood to really know what works the best, and I think we've got some pretty good information that those holes may not be that necessary. So we'll see how this is on the track. We'll do that. We'll continue that testing and make sure that we got it all as optimized as possible.
What about the shield there for the drivers?
Yeah. Well, we make the best windows in motorsports. All top cars use our polycarbonate windows. We got the best optically perfect material with the best hard coatings. And when we were doing the sprint car project, we were thinking, man, we got to somehow incorporate one of our windows onto one of these cars. I mean, it'd be a shame not to incorporate that. So it fits behind the rock guard. It'll add extra driver protection, and it'll also, I think, help streamline air around the driver for the aero-sensitive racers out there. The right side arm guard is pretty cool. We've got some core built into the side. We've got utilizing some Kevlar materials for maximum durability. We've got reinforced mounting locations on the body where the Zeus's get mounted, so help from pulling apart and separating. If there's a more durable body out there, I'd like to see it, because I don't think there's one better than this.
Next up is an innovative yet somewhat controversial new seat and seatbelt design by a company called XC Race Gear.
This is Lance with XC Gear out of Coldwater, Mississippi, and I'm at the PRI Show in Indianapolis, Indiana. Big show. We're here showing the Butler built, all built to seat with the monkey bar system, and I'll show you a few things about it. We'll kind of start with the polymer if you want. So there's 8 of these polymers in that system, 2 of them on the back and 2 of them under the bottom, and they will progressively dampen and slow a crash situation down by absorbing the G-forces. It'll take 3,500 pounds each device to take that wall of the polymer to that wall of polymer. Okay, so roughly 14,000 pounds is what it will absorb to fully compress this thing. And the seat can move in all directions. I don't care how you hit the car. It does have a little bit of side impact protection as well. And I'll show you the back of the seat here. So the back of the seat is a main body device on the left and the right. And the seat belts are hung on the all-belt monkey bar device right here. We can accommodate, this is actually a 3-inch bushing with a 2-inch belt on it, but we make the bushings for 2-inch belt as well. So you can either run a 3-inch belt or a 2-inch belt. We actually put a 5-degree inside angle on these seatbelt bushings. It's really hard for people to see, but it's something really proud of. It's kind of cool. So when you tighten the belt, it'll cam itself down, this inner bushing will cam itself down, put that belt on a 5-degree angle, and what we're trying to do with that is make the inside of that shoulder belt as taut as the outside of the shoulder belt, instead of just the belts being on a straight bar. So if you think about that, the inside of the belt's not as tight as the outside of the belt. So this is a little bit better design to try to keep the belts evenly taut. But that's the back of the seat. This bar for the all belt had to be put in per the height of the driver. So Butler Built will measure you. They'll build the seat. It'll have the seat belt holes in it. You'll mount the bottom of the seat. I'll show you the bottom of the seat in just a second. You'll mount the bottom and then rotate the seat back. That'll give you the bar location here, and then you weld this bar in and then finish the install. But as you can see, these belts are up here that are tied to the seat, and then part of the others on the bottom and the side. I'll show you this, guys. So the lap belt actually ties on the inside of the seat, right here to the inside to this plate. The whole seat is beefed up on the bottom, of course, on the back's really thick seat that the same technology that Butler Built uses in their Cup Series seats, that they tie the belts to the seat. This is just the first time it's been done for a sprint car. And then it comes with these tethers here, and these tethers will hold 14,000 pounds, okay, these tethers, so you'll never see that in a crash, but that's what that tether will do, and that'll keep if the car does land on its roof, it'll keep the seat from not going up in a crash. Around the front of the seat, I'll kind of show you the front now, inside the seat. But these are the washers in the bottom of the seat. It uses 2 3/8 bolt per washer, and if you see the surface area on the washer is huge. It's over 3 times what we would think is the industry standard as far as surface area, and then the bolt size is up 1 size, which industry standards like 5/16 is actually 2 3/8 grade 8 bolts. Another thing about these washers we're real proud of, it's very, very simple, but there's no tool required to put the seat in the car from this area, the part that the driver's sitting on, nor in the back, because we've actually contained the bolt, the head of the bolt, inside the washer, so no tool is required. And I'll tell you why that is important. That is important because the seat is actually removable from the chassis of the car if emergency personnel would like to remove the seat and leave the driver in the seat of the car. All you've got to do is remove the 4 9/16 bolts on the bottom, the 4 9/16 bolts on the back, and your driver's staying in the seat. If emergency personnel would like that, at least they have that option, they can get the driver out of the car. You got a ratchet on this side of the seat. It's also tied to the seat is here, and you can ratchet that lap belt tight down here. But that's the system, guys, from Butler Built. It's a collaboration between Butler Built and XC Gear, and it's kind of the first time in the world see us right here at the PRI Show in Indy.
This next one I actually really like a lot, and it's from Jeff Swindell, who's created bleeders for a number of years now. But this new bleeder sits mounted by plugging it into the wheel rather than the bleeder actually sitting within the rear axle. So he shows us that new design, which is patented, and also he's got an air pump design, which is about a year old now, but I haven't really seen too many people show it off. So check out the insight.
Hi, Jeff Swindell, Swindell Bleeders. Got a couple of new products this year. We got a new in-wheel bleeder with a dual port. Same ports as basically what we're using now, but with the dual. So we'll be able, for all our old style bleeders that run 2 hoses, we'll have a fitting to go on the end of those, so you can just use the 1 port. Plus, the new bleeder will go directly in the wheel itself. You gotta lick the damn thing. So it'll just pop right in just like the other ones. And then with this bleeder, it's only about 4 ounces right now with the batteries in it. I think when we end up production, we'll probably about 3.5 ounces. It also, you won't have to pull the bleeder in and out when you're changing spacing throughout the night, or if you have a flat under a yellow, you can have a spare already in your spare tires, so you don't have to take the time to pull the bleeder out, put the bleeder back in afterwards. A lot of times guys get in a rush and they don't have time to put the bleeder back in, so this way you'll always have a bleeder in your wheel, so that helps that out a lot. It's a pretty neat little piece. Got the patent filed on it actually Tuesday. I actually drew it all up and got it done Tuesday, so we are filed on that. This one will be coming also. We've just now released that. The same company we have building these will be building these also, so it'll be a nice aluminum piece with the same guts and the same functionality that we're using now on these. So they've been tried and true, everybody's used them, so everybody's comfortable with them.
Does that have a screen?
Huh?
Does that bleeder have a screen on it? Like, how do you set it?
Oh yeah, it's got the same screen. It's got the same screen and the same programming and everything we have in the bleeders now.
Yeah.
So all that will be exactly the same. Programming is the same. We did change the secondary programming on it. This has an out 1 and an out 2 source. We normally just use the out 1 source for the bleeder. We're changing the out 2 source to actually run the new pump. So here's the new prototype of the new pump, but it's got a great big motor in it, a big pump. I mean, it'll actually do 170 pounds, so it puts out a lot of volume real fast. So we can't let it run very long or it'll kill the battery. So we had to redo all the programming so that it'll only come on when you have to have air. So that's the one cool thing about that.
Does anyone else make these pump bleeders?
This is just a pump. We'll be able to make this an adapter to where we can go onto the back of these also. But first off, it's just going to be a single pump. So when you got your bleeder and your wheel, you don't want to run the pump all the time anyway. Normally guys are just going to run them in the feature time. So then come feature time, you can just slide the pump in, run it thin, so you're not dedicated to run this big heavy monstrosity all night long.
Can you dumb it down and explain how that actually pumps air?
It actually has a piston pump in it. So it's a huge pump with an electric motor that rotates it. So basically what we would end up doing, we'd end up setting the pump to whereas if the tire gets 4/10 below is a good number we like to run off of. So if the air pressure drops more than 4/10, the pump would come on and bring it back up to your set pressure. That way, then you're not overrunning the bleeder. So you don't want these two running at the same time.
How effective is it as far as timing? Like, do you have any numbers on how long it would take to pump up a tire, or how effective is it?
It's pretty effective. I did the preliminary testing here a while back when we first started working with the pump. It recovers pretty fast. I don't have the numbers on top of hand right now, but it pumps way more than anything else out there. I don't know what it is exactly, but it will recover the tire. I mean, once it drops below a couple of tenths, it'll probably bring that back in a matter of a minute, somewhere in that range.
For this past season, High Limit introduced the pumps. They also introduced adjustable shocks one adjustable shock within the cockpit, but not every team is choosing to actually run them. Are you finding that a lot of teams are choosing to switch over their bleeders or use these pumps?
The pumps have not been utilized very often right now. I do have about 100 orders for the new one here.
Wow.
It is efficient and it does pump a lot of air. So I don't foresee it being a great big deal. I don't think most of the other sanctioning bodies and stuff are going to go that route. So that's why I've kind of held off on even doing it, because it's a financial undertaking to get this and do it right.
Yep.
So, I mean, the programming alone is going to run us up about $5,000 to get that done, which that is already being done. So I'll have that. I'm probably going to have it for the show, but they're probably going to be another couple of weeks before they have that done. So, I mean, and I didn't know if they were going to stay with it or not. So I just really didn't push forward with it. When they started all this back a few years ago, I told them that my thought on it was that really all it's going to do is make the teams have to spend more money.
Yeah.
You got something else on the race car you got to deal with now that you can have failures with. I mean, everything can have failures. So I really wasn't a strong proponent of it. But personally, as a businessman, I'll do it to make money.
Yeah.
But I was a racer first, so I don't really think it was the right thing to do. But hey, if they're going to do it, we'll do it. We'll build them. We'll move on, and we'll make a little money off of it. But I think the real problem is that when they have red flags, they don't open them up. So then you sit on a red flag for 20 minutes where your air pressure is going to go down.
Yes.
So I think if all the teams knew that every red flag was an open red flag, then as soon as there's a red flag, the guys would be sitting on the side of the track ready to go. Well, all the sanctioning bodies now use the horns and the 2-minute warnings for every time they open a red. So if when you open a red, guys run out on the track as soon as they open it, you give them 2 minutes, they're off. You're not going to get the stuff cleaned up normally quicker than 2 minutes. So it solves the problem if it's just automatic open red. I think that's the real issue, because you think it's going to be a short red, so they don't open it up. Then they run into issues with fence or getting the car off or getting the guy out of the car or whatever. Then you end up with a long red, and then they think, oh, well, God, we don't want to let them out there now. It's going to drag us out longer. So then you sit there for 20 minutes, and then they push them back off. Well, yeah, your tires are going to be down because they've cooled. So I think me personally, I think that's the real problem. I think they should be opening every red.
The next product is from a company called Slade Precision Technology, and basically they focus on shocks and all those little parts, but they did also develop a new wing ram design called the Aero Cylinder, which has been out for about a year now, but I haven't really seen too many people show it off.
Hello, my name is Eric Slade. I'm the owner of Slade Precision Shocks, and we're going to do a little overview of our Aero Cylinder today. We developed a year or so ago and come out with. It's been very popular. Cures a lot of issues we're having because ever since the beginning when this hydraulic wing movement was started, we started with I guess you would call them glorified air cylinders we've used for years, and they're not designed to be used with hydraulic fluid, and they're very problematic, leaky over the years and constantly rebuilt. So we designed a new product that cures all that. It's designed to be made with hydraulic fluid, eliminates all your leaks, you can run it all year long, never have to worry about it. Basically, it's a simple cylinder, all the seals are made for oil, keeps everything nice and contained. We got rid of some of the hoses on the side, cleaned up some of the aerodynamics underneath, moved them to the front where they're less apt to get hit with rocks and things like that, any damage. Just trying to make a very nice clean little piece when we're done that matches the rest of the race car. Race cars are very refined and beautiful pieces these days, and we felt this was one that needed attention. Adding to that, we've created a new little roll bar clamp with different wing designs and slot locations and things. Chassis builders are fighting having to put tabs in different places for specific customers, so more and more are trying to eliminate tabs, go into a clamp. So we designed a new clamp as an accessory that we feel is a real step forward from the existing clamps. One simple pinch bolt, put it whatever custom length you want it, works beautifully.
My last chat is with sprint car driver Darren Pittman, who owns the company Ultra Shield. Now they make seats, tear-offs, seat belts, and a bunch of other products. And what I really wanted to ask him about was his thoughts on safety, not just from a driver's perspective, but from a manufacturer's point of view. There's been some questions recently with Chase Johnson's video. I was actually at the Gold Cup at Chico last year when Chase Johnson had his crash where he's now in a wheelchair. So I've actually had footage for a little while, which I never put out, but now that Chase has actually put it out, I don't mind putting it out. When you actually look at Chase's footage that he put in his video, you can actually see me in part of it in the corner there in turns 1 and 2 at Silver Dollar where he crashed. But in light of all that, I wanted to get some more information and see what Darren thought of that situation, that video, and also the new XC race gear seat-mounted seat belts and what he thought of that design.
I think there's a lot of push right now to obviously with people getting injured with, in my personal opinion, the misconception that we're seeing more and more of these types of injuries. I mean, listen, I don't have the data to back that up, and I don't have it on a spreadsheet that shows this and that. But I think there's a couple things. In my opinion, over the last 10 to 15 years, I think with the development of full containment seats, which obviously started with Butler built back, when they started doing it, probably in the early 2000s, with some of the chassis changes that they've made over the last 6-7 years, I think our sport has inherently, in my opinion, gotten much safer.
Sure.
I think that my personal opinion is if you watch videos from the early 2000s, late 90s, even into like the late 2008, 2009, I think the style of racing has changed. And I think it's changed because I feel like a lot of people feel like they can't get hurt. Like I think that the drivers feel safer than they probably ever have, and they don't have that mentality. I think that when I grew up in the older generation that, like these things are dangerous and they can hurt you.
As a driver sitting in a car, you felt more exposed, so you didn't want to bump wheels.
Totally agree. I think that the aggression of racing, whether or not that is because of the added purse money, it's gotten more, there's a young crop that race extremely aggressive. And I don't knock that in a bad way. I'm just saying, I think they haven't seen a lot of these younger kids, for lack of a better word, they haven't seen fatalities that we have seen. And I get it, we've had some, but it's been a little while. And I think the aggression is very high. I think guys feel very invincible driving these cars.
But in the, sorry to cut you off, but in the context of, say, the recent video from Chase Johnson, that wreck, he was on his own and didn't make contact with anyone else. What are your thoughts there as far as what's changed over the years? Like you said, full containment scenes, we see a Hans device or the Simpson hybrid, different types of belt configurations. What do you think is a good way to stop that from happening, and why hasn't that happened over those 20 years? Because he's not the only person to sustain serious life-changing injuries.
Absolutely. So, a lot of people probably are unaware that last winter, all the major series, High Limit, Outlaws, USAC, part of the Sprint Car Council got together after Chase Johnson's wreck. Believe it or not, a week later, Justin Cox had a similar, not as extreme crash in Oregon at another High Limit or Outlaw race, I'm not sure. Both had the same spacer system in their car, and both of their seats did similar things. Obviously, Chase's was much worse.
Yep.
So a rule was put in place last winter, directly in reaction to Chase Johnson's crash. I don't think anybody would ever looked at Chase Johnson's car before that race and said, "This is wrong. You need to fix it."
Yeah.
I would have never said that.
Yes.
It looked like it was well done. But after his crash, watching the length of the bolts, the way the spacer got bent without being machined to fit the frame rail, I think was by far the biggest. Hindsight's always 20/20. So
Sure.
This is not knocking what he was doing. I think he was very serious about his safety before, but we obviously have to be open enough to see when these things happen and try to learn from them. And I think that exact same thing happened last winter. There was rules put in place that now there is a maximum length on the seat bolts. Spacers must be machined to fit the frame rail. There was not a big public announcement made about that, so I think a lot of people just thought nothing happened.
So lack
about
of
his
communication,
accident.
maybe.
I mean, the teams were made aware. The teams were informed throughout the season, like, this has to be fixed. So, was there a huge production? Nobody was wanting to say, this is what happened in Chase Johnson's crash, or one thing that contributed to it. So therefore, there was no reason to bring to light why the rule was put into place, I guess. They're the people behind the scenes, the powers that be, that are basically heading up our industry with our series and our tracks, I feel like did a great job responding to an injury and working to make it better. And after watching his video, I've seen the pictures, I've seen the video. He made it very public, which is perfectly fine, and his right to do so, which I think was a good move.
Yeah.
But all that information had been out there, I think, to the people that look into making these decisions.
Yeah.
The Sprint Car Council has been around for quite a while. It has definitely had some lulls where it sort of died off.
Yeah.
It's pretty rejuvenated now and has been for the last couple of years. They're actually moving forward with now a new board. The main misconception, in my opinion, with the Sprint Car Council was the World of Outlaws used their platform and their leadership to sort of, I don't even want to use the word headed up, but organize the meetings. And it had somebody there. And I think a lot of people just felt like it was a World of Outlaws Council meeting, and that wasn't the case. There was always the other powers that be, whether or not it be Knoxville, Williams Grove, USAC, a large conglomerate of the main sprint car, whether it be wing or non-wing, voices were being heard. And so now the Outlaws have really stepped back from that. There is a complete board that makes all of these decisions, or at least listens to the people, that whether that be the manufacturers, the drivers, the tracks that come to them, and help to make those decisions on what areas we need to improve moving forward.
I find over here that the rules are sort of segregated in that series and tracks sort of do their own thing. Coming together for this safety council is obviously a good move, but are they responsible for actually making hard rules, or is it out of that, does mostly just suggestions come and the series still do their own thing? Or
no, I mean, most of the time it's a hard rule. Now, whether or not there is a time frame on when people have house, and I think the urgency of particular rules, like last year, the spacers, there was not a, they've had some chassis changes that have a year to go to an effect. Last year, the seat spacer thing was immediately, today, moving forward, everybody stuck with it. How well was that policed? I don't know. Like, the problem is, in our country, we have racetracks all over that have almost little to no tech. Okay, so at the end of the day, we hope that World of Outlaws, High Limit, ASCS, All Stars, okay, Knoxville Raceway, the main forces of our industry.
Sure.
If they enforce a rule, it's a trickle down effect. That you think both PRI, all these other smaller regional series, they basically adapt the rules. And if all of those groups come together and make a rule, then basically everybody else throughout the country is like, this is not a World of Outlaw rule. This is not a high limit rule. This is, if all these people are on board with this, we should probably listen. Like they're competing against each other, but yet they're one voice against something that they've obviously done their research on to feel strong enough to put a rule towards.
Yeah.
So absolutely being unified, and for them to be, a diverse group to make these rules, I think just carries more weight in the industry to hopefully that trickles down to your local tracks, that whether or not they race sprint cars weekly or even once a month on special events.
You're involved with the council through your business?
Yeah, well, not through my business, just personally. I've always have been involved as a driver.
Yep.
I'm not on the board. I am not a decision maker. I have gone to every one of their meetings, I believe, since day one, since it was created shortly. To my knowledge, it was sort of created right after the Jason Johnson incident. So it's been around for a while.
It's been something you're passionate about?
Absolutely. I mean, my passion, I was obviously directly involved in Jason's crash. And it's something that has changed how I look at our sport. I race and view racing differently from that day forward. And, my passion now is, obviously I'm not really much of a competitor anymore. I do run a little bit, but I want to see our sport get better. I want to see it get safer. And, my focus has definitely shifted, and I look at things a lot differently. Started that day, and it was a long time after that before I ever bought Ultra Shield. So, it's definitely been a passion of mine, since that day.
And you don't have to talk about it, but I've never really heard you talk about Jason's crash.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying that changed your outlook a little bit on the sport and safety. Did that affect you personally?
Absolutely. I mean, me and him were racing for the lead at the race at Beaver Dam, and we made contact racing for the lead. So it's still a difficult thing, in my life, and changed my life from that day forward. 100%. And so, we all, I feel like we've been fortunate that we haven't had any tragedies since then. But every accident we want to learn from. Tyler Courtney's accident, we need to learn from these incidents. And we can't be so reactive that we have to look at every crash individually. Okay, so Tyler Courtney's crash, in my opinion, with the way that car looked, as hard as he hit, even though he was hurt, I think there's a lot of things that went right in that crash. Like it is a fine line between when somebody gets injured. Is this a failure or is this a success?
Sure.
And that's a blurry line.
The successes get overlooked because any negative is a huge negative.
100%. And I think Tyler Courtney would probably stand here and tell you that his situation was a success story. I believe it was.
It very easily could have been a lot worse.
Very easily could have been a lot worse. There were a lot of crashes at Eldora, as bad as all of them were. I think what gets overlooked is Justin Peck got out and walked right away. Bill Baylog got out and walked right away. And if you go back and look at both their crashes, they were as violent as any of them all weekend long. And I think they were
Brad
really
was a
good.
concussion. Reitels was his foot.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of them. And again, that's not to dismiss the ones that did get injured. We still should look at them and break them down and go, how do we prevent this? But racing is still always going to be a dangerous sport, and it's always going to be evolving sport that whenever we do see an incident that somebody does get hurt, we have to look at it, dissect it, and go, what caused this? How do we make it better? And the solution has to be effective in the point that you can't overreact and try to fix a problem that creates more problems. So it is a balance of, it's not always just a cut and dry, do this to prevent it the next time, because every action, has an, opposite reaction.
Back to the seat specific, you talk about development and trying to improve things. There's one brand that's recently introduced a seat belt mounted to the actual seat. What are your thoughts on that?
my personal thoughts in the past, I mean, this is not new technology. It's been around in a Cup series for quite a while. I've been against it from the beginning. It's against our rules. I say our rules, not mine, but it's against most national series rules.
Yep.
That is getting reiterated today that is not going to be allowed. And I stand firm with the information that we have and the testing that's been done that is the right call. We have always had essentially 4 bolts and 5 belts that hold you in a sprint car. We have an inherent mounting problem in our industry as it is across the board. And when I say our industry, that is not 410 sprint cars. That is micros, midgets, 305s, 360s.
Sure.
It's a large range. And when I say that, we get by with sub mounting practices because the belts hold you in the car. So they help hold you in the car. Let me rephrase that. So to just remove the belts off of the chassis and put them to the seat. First off, we have no parameters as to how strong does a seat need to be built to hold a 200, 250 pound sprint car driver in a car with no belts attached.
Yeah.
We have information last year when they've started doing these IDRs on the seats of an impact last year of 80 Gs. So an 80 G impact on a 200 pound driver, I mean, you're getting upwards of 16 to 18,000 pounds. And so there's a lot of information that we need before anything like that, I think, should be introduced to our sport as far as what does the seat look like and how strong does it need to be to withstand that type of impact. Even if those parameters are set and the manufacturers are told that this is what can be done, I think there is a huge problem in our industry with that trying to be policed and teched throughout the field. So obviously drivers are always getting new cars, getting fired, getting new rides. So you're taking seat from one car to another to another, and we have an inherent problem of you see seats with multiple sets of holes, they become Swiss cheese. The reason they get away with it is because you are relying a lot on your belts. Now that's a total game changer as far as that not being onto the chassis. The mounting would have to be incredibly strictly policed, and I don't know that we have the infrastructure for that to be done correctly. Again, I think we could be opening up a can of worms and going down a slippery slope that we could be creating more problems than we're actually fixing. So to go back to the reason of, NASCAR does it. Well, the difference is a NASCAR seat weighs 120, 130 pounds. It's got 7 bolts that hold the headrest in. It's got 4 bolts that hold the bottom in. And then take all that into account that it's not on a moving system. So what they were introducing was a seat that is actually capable of moving with only basically 4 bolts. And so there's just a lot of testing that I think would need to be done for us to even consider allowing that into our industry. If that doesn't mean I won't change my mind in 6 months or a year when there is some, if we have hard data, what does it take? What do the seats need to look like? I'm happy to and confident that I can build a seat capable of doing it, but I need guidelines on this is what it has to. I'm not going to put my customers in a position where I'm like, I think this will work. And then find out that, no, that wasn't sufficient. And so I think it's a tough place for the industry to go that I personally don't see a path forward today. But obviously we have to always be open to new technology and things that could potentially make things better. And if we get that information and testing moving forward, then, it's something that we'll have to, keep an open mind on and keep looking at.
There you go, guys. That is the new tech within sprint car racing that I found interesting enough to show you guys. If you like this sort of content, there is so much more to learn about sprint car racing. So please make sure you watch one of these videos next. And don't forget to click subscribe on our channel down below. And also, don't forget to grab your Sprint Car Hub merchandise.